Okay, good day, Mr. Cartwright. How are you? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, Chuck. My name is Larry Cartwright. My name is Lawrence Cartwright, but everybody called me Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've been around here for a little while.
Yeah, quite a while. I know you were a principal at the school, but I went to NGM.
Right, I
Yeah,
served at NGM and other schools on the island as well. That I'll explain later.
yeah, exactly. So okay, I guess that will come under this. So tell us more about your previous careers and what you do now.
When I started out, Chuck, as a monitor at Gray's Public School, and then off to college for a couple of years, got a certificate in education, and returned to Long Island to teach in your hometown, Salt Pond.
Yeah.
I was the fourth principal there. Well, they called him head teacher then.
Right. Right.
I was the fourth principal there in 2 years.
Okay. Okay.
The school opened in 1964, and 66,
Mm-hmm.
and I went there in 1968. I spent 7 years there,
Okay.
after which I wanted to further my education, so I applied to EWI and had plans to read for a degree in education, of course. Got into Nassau and was told that because of some riots down in Jamaica, the Bahamas was not sending any students down there,
Okay.
but they were inviting professors from UWI to come to Nassau and have classes there. So I was posted at CC Sweeting and did my part-time studies with UWI based in Nassau.
Okay.
I spent 5 years at CC Sweeting,
Mm-hmm.
during which time I finished my first degree in education. And at the end of the 5 years, I was posted back on Long Island.
Okay.
Fortunate for me, because being my hometown, I preferred to work here.
Yeah.
I went to NGM, spent a year there as senior assistant teacher, and then was transferred and appointed as principal to Glennon's
Okay.
in
Okay.
the far north. I spent 5 years there, and then finished off my career at NGM Major High School, where I spent 13 years as principal.
Okay. So you've been all over the place.
Well, I was supposed to go all over the place,
Yeah.
because I was transferred once to Morrisville and didn't go,
Uh-huh.
once to San Salvador and didn't go,
Okay. Okay.
and then once to Foxtown, Abaco.
Yeah.
Went and came back.
Okay, okay. So yeah, you know us Long Islanders. You could take us out of Long Island, but you can't take Long Island out of us.
Oh no, most definitely.
We eventually drift back.
Right.
Okay, so I guess this is a pretty obvious question, but so have you lived on Long Island all of your life? I mean, I know you travel to, do education and all that.
Yeah, those years I just mentioned, that was basically
Yeah.
my time off Long Island.
Yeah.
I only left Long Island to further my education.
Okay, so if you were to describe Long Island in one word, what would that be?
Well, based on what I just said to you, those postings here on Long Island gave me an opportunity to learn more about Long Island.
Yeah.
Because as an adult and with a family, we were able to move out Long Island. And here on Long Island, you will probably find, as a young family here on Long Island, you and your wife and children, you will find that there's not much activity for families here. So you have to make your activities.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we found ourselves exploring the island, going from Cape Santa Maria in the north to Cape Verde in the south, taking our tents, our sleeping bags, and camping like on weekends to
Right.
learn more about the island. And based on that, what I've seen and experienced, I'll use just the word awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely use that as one of my words. One of my favorite words to use for Long Island is beautiful.
It is.
I mean, there's no denying that.
No,
I don't think you could take a bad picture on Long Island.
no, that's for sure.
So, you kind of like touched a little bit on this, but can you tell us about your experience growing up in Long Island? I guess maybe like in more in the earlier days.
That'll take a book, but I'll try to
Yeah.
break it down for you. Because growing up, I was born in 1948, just after the Second World War, and things were very slow here on the island. I wasn't able to say what they were like at the time, but I had a father who knew a lot and told us a lot of things about how things were.
Yeah, the storyteller and comedian.
Right, definitely. I was born at the end of the closing down of the cotton era,
Okay.
and came into the Sisal or Manila era.
Mm-hmm.
And as a child growing up, we found ourselves helping our parents, even though my father had a horse. When it was time to take the sisal to the pond, each of us were able to help to carry a bundle or so,
Yeah.
and that gave us the opportunity. Right to the south of us, Chuck, is a saltwater pond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's shallow around the edges. It had a few deep holes called boiling holes that we call boiling holes.
Right.
And once you dealt with that raw sisal, Manila,
Mm-hmm.
it left you itching.
Itching, yeah.
So we would find ourselves after taking the sisal there, that we would find ourselves going in and getting a good dip.
Yeah, yeah.
That pond was called the saltwater hole. That's
Mhm.
what the people around here call it, and we call it a pond.
Right.
It provided the swimming pool for the community.
Yeah, that's the natural.
Almost every child in Grace learned how to swim at an early age.
Yeah.
And that's where they learn how to swim, right there.
Right, right.
And as an asthmatic, my parents wouldn't allow me to go to school too early.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you had to wait until you were 6 in those days to go to school.
Right.
So at the age of 6, I qualified to go to school, but I wasn't able because of my asthmatic condition.
Yeah.
My grandmother and
So they had like all age.
it was an all age.
All age type of school, yeah.
But my grandmother wouldn't dare let me get out, and even after I started school, she woke up in the morning and saw one cloud in the sky.
Yeah,
I had to stay home. So I found myself going through the early years in school very slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the age of 14, this is a Grace public school that's now closed. At the age of 14, they decided to repair Grace School and gave us the option of going to McCann School in the north,
Right.
because there was no Salt Pond School as yet,
Okay.
or going to Dedminski School. Only those who had bicycles, and bicycles were few and far between.
Yeah.
Only those of us who had access to a bicycle was able to make that trip. And I went to Dedminski School, but most of the children from in here went there. So 3 or 4 of us guys who had bicycles, we decided to go on to Buckley's.
Okay.
And that closure of Grace School lasted from January of 1962, I think it was,
Uh-huh.
until June. And when I returned to Grace in September, I was able to bring with me some old, there was an exam called the School Leaving Certificate examination. And I was able to bring from Mr. Major, NGM Major, some old papers that we went through with. And in 1963, I wrote my school leaving certificate and didn't do too well. You had to pass every subject, including a general paper. The general paper comprised some natural science, some geography, some history, and some health science.
Okay.
And you had to pass math, English, and that examination in order to qualify for the certificate.
Right.
I failed the general paper.
Okay.
And come June of 1964, I decided that I was 14 then. No, I wasn't 14 yet. Wait. It was June 62, sorry, June 62. I was just 14, and I decided that I would leave Grace School and go to Buckley's.
Okay.
And I spent 2 years in Buckley's, getting out of there in 1966. And was fortunate enough to teach at Grace School until December as a monitor.
Okay.
And then I got a chance to go into Bahamas Teachers College in Nassau.
So like for example, when I came along quite a while after you were born, right? So when I was growing up, you know, my dad, he was a fisherman. My granddaddy was a fisherman, carpenter, all that stuff. And we used to go in the boat a lot, fishing. We used to go down the caves, all that. So I imagine you all did a lot of that stuff too, right?
Yes, I was getting to that. I was going to just go back.
Okay.
As a child growing up, like I said, we had to help with the chores around the house,
Right.
which included. In those days, we had to tote wood because everybody had a fire hearth and there were no gas stoves.
Yeah.
Most people had a little kerosene stove that they used like on weekends, on Sunday in particular.
Right, right.
But during the week, you had to
Like
tote,
special occasions
you had to
or
tote wood. You had to fill water from a well
yeah.
and make sure when you went to bed at night, all the containers were filled up. And everybody in the community went to church.
Yeah.
Sunday was church day, the Lord's day. No manual labor was to be done
Okay.
except to feed the creatures. Everybody had animals, horses,
Yeah.
sheep, goats, hogs, etc., and of course cats and dogs. So that's all you did on Sunday. And like I said, went to church in the morning, Sunday school, and evening service in the.
And then one thing I know about back in them days, like I get stories from my mom and grandparents and stuff before. It's like back in them days, everything was work. Everything you did, it wasn't no go to the shop for this or you could get whatever. Everything was work, and I think that that really instilled some excellent qualities and
most definitely it created a good discipline because you had things you had to do. For
You had no other choice.
Like I mentioned, they're toting water, they're toting wood, washing your clothes, getting special wood for ironing.
Yeah.
Some dry wood, when you burn it, it smokes.
Yeah.
So you had to keep them out of the fire when you ironing because you heated your irons on the coals.
Yeah, and you get smoke on it, it can stand the stuff up.
Right. And they used some tops, some palmetto leaves that they would rub the iron on before they start, especially if they're ironing a white shirt.
White shirt, right.
Make sure clean that off good before they used it. But you would have to see these things in operation.
Yeah. It definitely.
To really appreciate them.
Exactly, and it definitely was ingenious ways what they had too.
Right.
And living on the island, like I say, basically away from all this technology and a lot of different things today, they really had some genius ways to do things.
Oh yeah, there was no technology.
No, it wasn't no technology.
My aunt and uncle across the street had the radio in the community.
Yeah.
My parents had the only telephone in the community.
Yeah.
So everybody who wanted to call someone in Graves would call the house here. As children, we would be sent to the television. You got a phone call.
Yeah, I even remember that. Like it was one in McCann's.
Right.
For the community. So even us used to have to go there and use that.
Fox, uncle.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember that one.
He had a phone in Saltburn. Well, my aunt Irmina out with Basil Fox living now out on the dock there. They had his phone, and then they moved to Nassau.
Okay.
Boyk, we used to call him Uncle Boyk.
Yeah.
He got the phone. But whenever a call came through, or a telegram they called it,
Yeah.
telegrams came to the operator in Clarencetown in code.
Right.
He would transfer them to the local operator in the settlement, in this case for my parents. They would write it out on a telegram form, envelope it, and then we would take it to the persons in the community.
Wow.
So we had our little choice, and they would choose. In my case, I was the one who took the telegrams.
Yeah.
Because I guess I was kind of delicate and couldn't do very much around the house, so they used me for that little easy chore.
And the thing is and not cutting you off, but I just remembered as you say it.
Right.
The thing is like today everything is in an instant. You press a button and you could communicate to anybody in the world literally. But like you say, you had to go through that whole process. It wasn't nothing like happen instantly.
Right. When you say the word instant, remind me of my father.
Yeah.
He used to always talk about things being instant. He said that they say instant coffee.
Yeah.
Well, instant coffee isn't instant because you still have to boil the hot
You're
water.
right. It ain't like you could take it right out the jar and drink it like that.
It will boil the coffee one time. That's where to boil.
Exactly. So
but living on the islands, there was no class.
Yeah.
Everybody was at the same level.
Yeah.
All the children went for wood. All the children stole away from home to go shoot marbles and swim top. Flying kite was reserved for Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons.
Right.
And all the children got together. Families visited. When my parents were going to visit their friends around here, all of us went.
Yeah. So it was definitely a community thing.
Yeah. And of course, in those days, children were not a part of the adults' conversation.
No.
When the adults were on the porch of their houses or inside talking,
You don't get that.
the children were outside playing.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You know, our sports were shooting marbles, spinning top, flying kite, playing rounders, playing ring play.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely know some of that. You know, it was pretty much a lot of those stuff was in place when I was growing up too.
Right, right.
And like for example, today I have 4 daughters, young daughters, and like you try and have a conversation with adults, and they talking or they butting in, and I keep trying to tell them you don't talk when adults talking. You know.
The rule of thumb.
But it's different now. You
The
know.
rule of thumb for us as children was speak when spoken to,
Exactly.
and answer when called.
Yeah, well, these children these days with this technology, YouTube and all that, they watch these stuff in the States and they don't care. But anyway, Mr. Cartwright, like you say,
But let me just close out on that.
Yeah, no problem.
And school leaving age was 14, as I said.
Yeah, yeah,
And normally, the normal thing was that once you reached 14, you left school and went to look for a job.
yeah,
Very few people stayed here because there wasn't much to do. There was no crawfishing. There was fishing for sustenance only.
yeah, yeah.
And so you went to Nassau.
Right.
There was no Freeport as such as yet. So the bulk of the young persons from the family from Long Island went into Nassau and sought employment there. Some of them came back later on in life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, we have that. We got that kind of going on today too, because a lot.
Still going
Yeah, a lot of the young people when they come out of school, they go to Nassau because it's, you know, better opportunities. They go to Nassau, they go away somewhere to state something. It's better opportunities.
Right.
And then a lot of people, you know, eventually come back. And that's like me, for example. I lived in Nassau for a while, and I came back. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like you could take the person out of Long Island, but you can't take the Long Island person. We always draw back to this place.
And let me say that that's a good move that you made. I think.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
No.
But you can manage it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Your children will grow up to be better citizens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, me growing up on the island, I know certain, you know, discipline and things I learned growing up in the island, and I think it's important. Like when we was in Nassau, you know, so much things is going on. You know, you can't trust nobody these days. Crime going on. So, like, they used to be in the house a lot.
Right.
Like here, they got a lot more freedom. And what I doing here now with them, everything I used to do growing up, I mean, I like a child again. Everything I used to do, I carry them to do it.
Right.
Because I want them to experience the island living. Like that life living in the house all the time, ain't doing nothing on tablets. That ain't a life.
No.
You know. So all right, Mr. Cartwright, like you said, we could do a book on that one.
Yeah, that can take quite a lot.
Yeah, take it well. So I got okay. As an adult, what is your favorite thing or things to do on Long Island? But I mean, I know now you like in the retirement type of phase.
I didn't complete the section on my careers, but you would know that I spent 30 years as an educator.
Right.
I retired in 1999, bought a boat, went fishing.
Right.
Spent a couple of years in commercial fishing, and out of that, I ended up getting into politics. Asked for 2 years, 2 terms, got my 2 terms.
Right.
Spent the 10 years in Parliament, retired from active politics, came back to Long Island and started to farm.
Right.
And then it was in 2017 when the Prime Minister asked me to represent the country overseas. So I spent 4.5 years there. I was planning to make it for 5 years, but of course you know the results of the election. Of course it's changes with diplomats. So my stint came to an end in October, and I returned to Long Island in December of 2021, and I retired from active public service.
Right.
for the 3rd and 4th time.
Okay.
So I am here, but I have a couple hobbies.
Yeah.
I play with straws. I do straw work, a little straw work. See in the corner there's some samples from the things I've been doing, and my specialty I would say would be the fanners.
Okay.
That I like to do things that people that I used to see people using when I was growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fanner was a straw tool that was handmade to clean grits.
Okay.
When the farmers would thrash their corn,
Yeah.
they have a lot of trash in it, so they would put the corn into the fanner
Right.
and shake it up, and when they throw it in the air, the wind blew the
Yeah,
trash out.
I remember that growing up, because when I was growing up too, like my parents and grandparents, and great grandparents, they used to cook on the fire, like you say. They used to do the corn. They used to do a lot of different things.
Right. So I dabble in straw work. I like my gardening. I have my garden in the back there, and
Right.
of course, being on Long Island, occasionally I go fishing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Fishing on the rocks.
That's a must.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, as far as the questions, okay, so lastly, do you have anything else you would like to share with the world about our beautiful island?
Well, you used the
I mean, you
exact-
shared quite a bit of stuff
used
just
the
now,
exact
but
word that I would use. Long Island is one of the most beautiful places in the world.
well, I would agree with that.
Yesterday, I heard the Prime Minister read a note submitted by one of the astronauts who went into space and was talking about how beautiful the Bahamas is.
Hmm.
And I share that view in Long Island. Long Island has so much beauty. I see you doing some video clips now with it.
Right.
And from those, you are probably seeing more and more of Long Island and getting to know about the beauty of Long Island. And I would just like to say, any and everybody listening to or watching this, that Long Island is the gem
Yep.
of the Bahamas in my book.
And it's interesting. It's interesting you use that word, because the documentary what I'm making, it's called Long Island Bahamas, the Southern Gem.
It is the gem of the country and the gem of the rest of the world.
Yeah, and a lot of we kind of get a little bit of like surprise faces when like Long Islanders say Long Island is like the most beautiful in the island in the Bahamas. I mean, of course that's our opinion, but boy, let me tell you something. Ain't much people could argue against that.
No, that's for sure. And I've been here most of my life, and like I said, I did a lot of exploring. I touched my feet on almost every part of Long Island.
Yeah.
The western side of the island, the eastern side of the island. I've been to all of the highest hills and the beaches. You name it, I can tell you something about it.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm doing now. Like I say, I'm basically like a child again. I'm going all over the place.
Right.
I exploring every corner, caves, beaches, everywhere you could talk about. So that's why one of the reasons why I doing this documentary. So people I could share with people. I share it with my children, and I want to share with the world the gem that we have here.
Right.
You know.
And you can. There's so much that you can see that other persons wouldn't know about Long Island.
No.
I saw you did an aerial photo of the shrimp hole.
Yeah.
Just recent years that has come to be public knowledge.
Right.
But for all those years, that was just sitting there.
Yep.
You have these old slave ruins that
Yep.
are located all about through the island. Some you hear about because they're near the roadside and people can go
Right.
walk to them. But there's so many, like the one you asked me about, the Woods Plantation.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Off the beaten path, and people don't know about it.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's one thing I do too is
Right.
even me who knows so much about Long Island, there's certain things I don't even know.
Right.
So like I trying to find as much space as I could and showcase as much as I can, because like you say, even the locals, I mean, like when I do certain videos of certain places, they'd be like, where that is or whatever, you know what I mean?
And the tomb in Mauritius, I don't know if you had a chance to.
Yeah, I've been there, and the
go
Blue
that
Hole.
yet.
Yeah.
To see that tomb has an ivory plaque
Yes.
on it suggests that person
Was wealthy.
was wealthy, and they must have thought very much of that little
Yeah, important.
14-year-old girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But like you said earlier, Mr. Cartwright, we could go on all day, but I think we almost on 30 minutes now, so we think we did a great job. I appreciate you interviewing with me. And of course, I'll be consulting you like personally to get more information and stuff, because you've been around a little longer than me.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm definitely gonna share this with the world and showcase our beautiful island.
Right. Yeah, well, I just wanted to commend you
Uh-huh.
for what you're doing, because I think that the initiative that you've taken
Right.
will be meaningful, not so much now maybe,
Yeah.
but in the long run, because what you can capture on your camera
Yes.
and speak to people one-on-one and take these photographs of these real sites
Right.
that exist on Long Island will be meaningful and educational to all and sundry. Thank
Exactly.
you for including me in your documentary.
Well, you know that. I know you's a very educated man and know a lot about Long Island. And yeah, that's a part of the reason I'm doing it, because, you know, these stuff, the internet ain't going nowhere.
No.
And when this stuff, I keep telling people this is going to basically be on the internet forever.
Right.
And even when you gone, I gone, you know, I have young children now. I want this to be something like the future generations could see.
Right.
So that's a big part of what I'm doing it for too. But like I said, Mr. Cartwright, thank you, appreciate it, and
My pleasure.
you have a great day.
Thank you too.